Suzanne Barnes is a regular transit user.
I often see people who seem to be in distress and sometimes shouting and having some challenges.
Almost every day, a new incident. Transit workers chased by a person with a syringe. A 16-year-old stabbed on this bus. A woman stabbed multiple times by a stranger on this streetcar. Reports of people shoved towards subway tracks. And a TTC worker shot at with a BB gun. But it's not just happening in Toronto. There are thousands of attacks on staff coast to coast, says the National Transit Workers Union.
Assaults, being spat on, being punched, being pushed, being threatened and intimidated are all commonplace events in our transit system right across this country.
The union wants a task force to tackle safety, while Toronto's mayor hopes a national mental health summit could help address part of the problem.
And I think it's high time there was a meeting like that.
The Prime Minister also willing to help.
If there's a role for the federal government to step up, we will no doubt step up.
In Vancouver, where transit police ride the rails,
we are absolutely seeing an increase in calls related to mental health, specifically on the system.
crimes on transit have gone down, but calls to help people in crisis are skyrocketing, she says.
We deal with a lot of unhoused people.
That's why mental health supports alone won't solve the problem, according to this psychiatrist.
We often talk about people falling through the cracks. We don't have cracks. We have caverns. We have entire systems that are not there for people.
So, Katie, obviously, you're outside of what is another messy, stormy night in Toronto. I suppose weather like that, in a way, is another factor in all of this.
Yeah, it is these kind of conditions that drive vulnerable people into transit systems. After all, they tend to be warm and open 24/7. Now, Dr. Simpson is worried that this is being characterized as a mental health issue, but he says the TTC violence issue, there are other social factors that need to be considered: access to housing, to food, and also basic income supports for the most vulnerable.
All right, Katie Nicholson in Toronto tonight. Thanks, Katie.